All right, hello East Central and families and students and community members. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Facebook and YouTube Live. I am Brandon Oliver. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications, and we've been having this series of discussions on Facebook Live and YouTube Live to answer your questions and frequently asked questions that we're getting in this very uncertain time of year. So tonight is going to be about the middle school principals, the middle schools themselves, and talking about next week, going into next week, and what that's all going to look like. So I'm going to bring on first from Legacy Middle School, Dr. Nicole Lewis. Dr. Lewis, how are you doing?
I am great. Hello, everybody. It's so good to be able to be here with you again tonight.
And then, of course, we have Mary Alice Gomez from Heritage Middle School. Mary Alice, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Glad to answer some questions tonight.
And we do want to remind our viewers off the top that we do have some pre-formatted questions that that we will be going through, and then we want to take questions from y'all. I just want to make sure that we don't miss your questions, so wait until that question and answer period, and then we'll get to them. So a lot is going on, principals, and so I mean, let's start with the first question. Obvious, why are we on an emergency schedule?
Sure. I'll take this one if you don't mind, Mrs. Gomez. Okay, so we do have flexibility right now to be on this schedule, which is similar to what some people have referred to as a hybrid schedule, but it is our emergency schedule. And what that means is that those parents and students who really want to opt in for students to be face-to-face, receive instruction on campus can do so. So over the next 4 weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to start backfilling our students in so we can get as many as possible safely into the building. So you'll hear a little bit later about what that's going to look like more specifically, but essentially we're going to start with 2 groups of even amount of students to be safe. And then over the next couple of weeks after things stabilize, and that means we'll know about how many students are showing up each and every day. Once we know that information and we have our protocols in place, students understand it, parents are comfortable with it, and our staff are comfortable with it, we'll start putting more and more students inside those groups.
All right, and then again, I mean, if a student still wants remote learning, they don't need to worry about this, and they could choose remote learning the rest of the year, correct?
That's correct. They can absolutely choose to stay remote, and we're using the term asynchronous, meaning that, or they can do asynchronous or synchronous. They can choose to log in at the same time as instruction is going on live, or they can choose to do come back later whenever works best for the family schedule and look at those resources and look at the videos that the teachers have posted.
So one of the questions that we've been getting a lot on social media, and I'm sure you ladies are receiving as well, parents that work, and as we're entering in this emergency, you don't want to say hybrid, but emergency schedule, they work, and it was planning to have their child return to school 5 days a week. What are some options that they may have?
Yeah, great question, Mr. Oliver. I'll go ahead and take this one, Mrs. Lewis. And Dr. Lewis, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Yeah, so parents, as of tomorrow, you'll be able to log into your Texas Connect account and see your student schedule. And on that schedule is a 0 period. In that zero period, it will tell you if you're Group 1 Gold, what days of the week you're going to be coming, Group 2 Black, which days of the week you'll be coming. And so I know that many of our parents do work and would like for their students to come back 5 days a week. But again, give us a couple of weeks to find out exactly who's coming, our routines, our procedures, just to make sure that we are all safe. And so give us a couple of weeks. If that indeed is your need, all you need to do is contact us and let us know. So then that way we can kind of keep you in mind, so we can start adding some more students as we can.
And again, just to reiterate, this is all about risk mitigation. It's not about bringing everybody on and then seeing what happens.
Right.
We're taking a very cautious and phased in approach to keeping this kid safe. And and as you said, we're totally an acknowledgement that, yeah, this is a little tough. It's not the preference, but over the next few weeks, you're going to start to see them start phasing them all back in. So just hang in there, families. we know it's hard. So let's talk about the daily schedule. What does the daily schedule look like?
And if you can, Mr. Oliver, I don't know if you can project that for us, if you can put that on the screen at all, but I'll kind of go over to it. It's going to be, for our middle schools, it's going to be very similar to what our students have become used to. So we are still going to be on an A-B alternating day schedule, where our A days are periods 1 through 4, and our B days are going to be periods 5 through 8. So it's going to be very similar. Now, what you're going to see, this is an example right here of legacy middle schools, and I know Heritage is very similar. You will see a few differences in times, and that's just due to how our master schedule is a little bit different for planning purposes and for conference periods for our teachers. But again, you'll see there on an A day, students will only be seeing teachers from 1st to 4th period. That's whether they are at school face-to-face, or if they're at home learning, they're going to see periods 1 through 4. And then on B day, they're going to see periods 5 through 8. So what you'll see here is our students will, again, have the opportunity to prepare for the remote work. If they're at home, we're just going to ask them to get all of their materials ready, their books ready, and anything that they're going to need through lunchtime. But what you will notice is that lunch times are different now. So on our current schedule, all students eat lunch at the same time. But because we're phasing students back into the building, we are not able to have lunch at the same time for safety purposes, because we still have to maintain that proper social distancing while we're in the cafeteria. And so you'll see this is just a sample. So students in 6th grade are going to go, everybody's going to start first period again at 9 o'clock, and they're still going to end at 2:25. But we built in that time for the asynchronous support and then for some tutoring if students should need that. So again, this is just a sample, but within that, there are several different schedules that can get really complicated if I try to explain it, but your students are used to it. So a 6th grader is going to have their ELAR and math block just the way they normally would. They're going to have their science and social studies and all their electives. It's just spread out over 2 different days.
Okay. And Ms. Gomez?
Ms. Gomez?
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Oliver, if you could put ours up. There you go. As you'll notice, it's very similar to legacy middle schools. And again, it's just the way we structure our day. But 6th grade, there's a different schedule for 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, again, based on the blocks of classes that we offer for 6th and 7th graders. The only difference I do want to add is just at the very end, notice from 2:25 to 4:20. I just, essentially just wanted to remind our students and our parents that this is the time that our students should be using to complete the work that they didn't finish from today or that they haven't submitted from the previous day's work. So definitely, at 2:25, the school day doesn't end, right? We still need to make sure that we complete all of our work. But the same thing, A day, periods 1 through 4, B day, periods 5 through 8.
And I'd like to just say one more thing. One of the positive things about our schedule during remote learning, or now into the emergency schedule, is that we actually do have more time than we normally would have with our students in their content areas. And so this is very important because, as we know, school was closed last year. And so there are going to be some gaps that our students may have just because they weren't in school or they weren't receiving instruction as they normally would have. So this schedule is allowing us to be able to be in front of students, whether it's from home or whether it's at school, much longer than we normally would have on any other schedule. So this is a big plus for us, and we're excited about that. I wanted to say one more thing too, because I see somebody had put that. There was somebody was still unsure about the Texas Connect. I think we had a screenshot of what it might look like in Texas Connect. If you have it available, you can put it up. If not, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yes.
For that.
Hold on, I just got to switch the screen real quick.
Sure.
And I can get it up there. But while I'm doing that, what y'all were kind of touching on already is if the child needs tutoring or additional help, face-to-face time, those are the times those asynchronous times that they can use, correct?
Absolutely. And I would really encourage our students to advocate for themselves. send an email to your teachers. Let them know if you're at home, I just need some time, and schedule that time with your teacher. So we do have that time built in, especially if students are remote only, they're at home all day, they're not coming into school at all, then it's going to be important that they still have that contact with the teacher. So absolutely, during those times that are on the schedule, those are times for you to be able to reach out and get that extra help as needed.
Right.
And we'll have tutoring days and times posted at Heritage as well when our teachers are available for students to come in. And so, yeah, so that's a sample schedule of a Heritage student. And you'll notice that 0 period at the very top says Group 1 Gold face-to-face. And so your student schedule will look very similar, Group 2 Gold face-to-face, or it may even say everyday remote if you chose to do synchronous or asynchronous learning for the next few weeks.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's very helpful to see firsthand. And I mean, they're getting these schedules. I know you said Text Connect. I mean, are they in the mail? Can they go to Text Connect right now?
Actually, I believe it's going to take 24 hours for it to show up on the parents' end, but they should see it by tomorrow morning. And yes, we are also mailing home their schedules, the calendar, the bell schedule that you just saw. And then the other thing that we're going to be sending, and Mr. Oliver, if you'll put that one up too, is the black and gold calendar. And so if you guys have probably received it if you have high school students, the black and gold calendar. And we actually are using the exact same calendar to make it easier for our parents. And so you'll also receive this in the mail. And again, the colored copy with the black and the gold dates and so forth. And although the high school schedule is a little different because they have more of a different A-B schedule than us, but we also denoted it. So on the 8th, on September 8th, Tuesday, September 8th, that's an A day. So our students will see periods 1 through 4. And notice on the 9th, that's a black day. Our students will see periods 5 through 8. And so we've also included this, being sure that you post this on your refrigerator where it's easy to see.
And I would also recommend that our students take a picture of it with their cell phone or with their iPad, because sometimes those things do get lost.
Great idea.
It's like they're going to college already, you know?
We're preparing them.
I mean, because this is college right here. I mean, you know, and I certainly understand they're not there yet and they're still kids, but I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, in a few years, you know, some of these parents will be sending their kids off to college, and that's what they'll be, you know, practically doing. So, next question, you know, when will I know what group my child is in? I know we have already kind of talked about that, but just so we can get through it on the pre-formatted questions, just maybe reiterate again.
First thing in the morning, check your students, log into your Texas Connect. Everyone has access to it now because of registration. And so definitely log in and look at your student schedule, and it'll be the very first thing at the top there, just like that sample. And we're also mailing it home.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. If it's so, one question, frequently asked question that we get, I have multiple children in the district. Will they be on the same group, same schedule?
So I'll take that one. We've collaborated together. We really do value collaboration, and we work together, the district leaders from all of the elementary schools, middle schools, and then the high school, to try to put siblings in the same group. But we might have missed a couple. So our advice to you is, if for some reason your children are not in the same group, just email really any one of us, any one of your children's principals, and we will accommodate, because we know that you are eager to get back to work. You have to get back to work. You need to, and we want to help with that as much as possible. We know this hasn't been easy for anyone, and so we want to make sure to accommodate that. So you can, like I said, email any one of us, and then we will collaborate amongst each other to make sure that your students get put in the right group, and then we'll communicate that change to you.
So another question, you know, we get just to clear up any confusion, does my child still need to attend remotely if they're not doing the face-to-face?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yes. So the expectation is we go to school 5 days a week, right? And so every day we're either face-to-face or we're working synchronously or asynchronously. So yes, that is the expectation, 5 days a week of learning.
They're not getting out of it. There's 5 days a week. There's 5 days a week of learning. Let's talk about safety now, because obviously we talked about the reason why we're starting off with the emergency schedule. It's to mitigate risk. So let's talk about, what will safety protocols look like when my child attends face-to-face?
Yeah. So do you want me to start with that one? So we are going to ask our parents to screen the children on a daily basis. So ask your child if they're feeling well. If you notice that they're maybe a little bit warmer, take their temperature. All of those things that you have been in the process of doing over this time, we're going to ask you to continue to do those things. That's going to be very important for us. And we are going to ask if your child has any symptoms. They're having a cough, they have a headache, or I don't want to start naming them and forget any, but all of those symptoms, we're going to ask that you please keep them home, right? That's going to be what's best for all of our students. We know, again, I totally understand that parents are eager to get back to work, but if your student is displaying any symptoms, headache, stomach, nausea, anything like that, we're just going to ask that you keep them from home and monitor those symptoms. If they should go away and it doesn't continue, and then you'll make the informed decision. But other than that, we are going to have our safety protocols in place. We here too, if we notice that maybe a student is out of sorts, if they feel like they're not feeling themselves, we will send them to the nurse, and our nurse can also do a quick screening as well. But we are going to be still asking students to maintain that appropriate amount of distance from each other. Students must wear face coverings or masks for the entire time that they are in the building. So that's not going to change at all. We're going to work really hard to make sure that we have our traffic, coming in the doors, that we know exactly in the morning, students can only enter these doors. At the end of the day, they can only exit out of these doors, because that's going to help us if we ever get into the case where we have to contact trace. I'm sorry, Ms. Gomez, would you like to add anything to that?
No, I think you said everything. But I think the key is that students will be required to wear a mask at all times, except when they're eating their breakfast or their lunch. And so, all of us have struggled with wearing that mask, but once you get accustomed to it, it does become part of your routine. And so, but if a student happens to forget it, we do have extras here to loan our students.
I'll add one more thing that just came into my mind. So I know here at Legacy, and I know Legacy and Heritage leadership teams have been working very closely together. And so some of the things that we're doing, our water fountains currently have like 2 sets of water fountains together. We're only going to allow one to be open, so that we're not going to have 2 students at the same time. We're going to strongly encourage that our students bring water bottles and not drink from the water fountain. That's another safety protocol that we'd like to put in place. And then, of course, during lunch, we are going to be seating students. We will tell them where they should sit, and that's going to be based off where we've already marked 6 feet being apart from each other.
And so I hate to bring up the negative. What happens when a child refuses to wear the mask?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to have a conversation just like we normally would, any type of infraction like that. And we'll discuss just what are the reasons for it, right? And then we'll just kind of attack it that way. But I think we're in a really good place with everyone understanding why it's so important to wear our masks at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And the next question that we get frequently, and I can understand the concern. Can you guarantee that the kids will be 100% safe?
Yeah, we cannot guarantee 100%. However, we can definitely mitigate those risks by making sure that we are keeping our 6 feet apart, that we are wearing our mask at all times, that we are constantly washing our hands, that we are using the hand sanitizers. We have installed hand sanitizers by our water fountains in every hallway, every classroom, entering the school building, exiting the school building, in the cafeteria. So we're definitely going to be encouraging all of those things. And so at any time we see that some of these things aren't being followed, then we're going to address them. But we're doing our very best. We're trying to not only keep our students safe, but our staff safe as well, right?
Yeah, and so with our staff, we've already built a culture of if you see something, say something, and we just have to not take it personally. So if somebody addresses you, it's because we want to send you back home the way you came, right? I used to I told our staff that when they first returned is your spouses, your significant others, your children expect me to send you home the way you came. And so that means if we see something that is against our safety protocols, then we're going to address it. And that includes if a student for some reason should see another student or even an adult that maybe isn't following safety protocols, they say something.
Right. I do want to let the viewers know that the reentry plan, the safety protocols are available at ecisd.net as well as ecproud.com. I mean, it's a pretty detailed document. It's about 40 pages of every sort of procedure, bathroom procedure, recess procedure, passing periods and things of that nature, that it's all in there. So, please give that a look. Also, what to do when, if there is a positive COVID case or, someone's feeling symptoms. So those things are already there on the website. If you just want to take a look at them, ecproud.com, and then check out the reentry plan.
Go
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
We can come back later.
All right. So after school programs, we just saw the one YWCA is doing for the elementary schools. Is there an after school program for middle schools?
Unfortunately not. So we don't have after school programs for our students. We typically have after school sports and clubs for our students, which we're in the process of still finalizing those things. So we're not going to speak too much on that tonight, but we don't have after school programs, but the elementary age children do. Students who are involved in the sporting activities are still going to be able to do that, whether they're remote or whether they are face-to-face. There's going to be a few differences between remote and face-to-face, which you will learn from your coaches and the athletic coordinators in separate meetings, but we do not, simply put, we don't have any programs. And then we encourage, our instruction ends at 2:25 as far as the face-to-face when students are on campus. And so that is a parent's right to be able to pick up their child at that time if it works better for their schedule, but we do ask that they're here for the rest of the day.
Well, that leads into the next question, which is transportation. What time will the buses pick up and drop off? What time does school start? And can I drop off my child right before the first period of every day?
Great questions. Yes, thank you, Ms. Lewis. Absolutely. Our transportation department is actually working on their standard operational times. And so be sure to go onto their website, look at the info finder to determine your pickup and drop off times for morning and afternoon. And school does start at 9. We do ask that you drop them off if you'd like before 9 o'clock, but please remember, this is a little plug for our child nutrition department. All of our students receive free breakfast and lunch. So drop them off about 8:30. They can come in, get some breakfast, free breakfast. And definitely you can pick them up after school at after 2:25. But just know that as of right now, definitely look at that info finder to determine what time your student will be dropped off.
I'm just going to bring up, Legacy's emergency schedule real quick, just to kind of, because it can be a little confusing about when to report or, maybe when the buses are picking up. But again, we just want to, show that, yes, you can drop off right before first period, or, yes, you can pick up, right after the final period for the day. But that doesn't mean that's what the buses are going to do, right? The buses are going to pick up at earlier times and take you in earlier or pick you up later. So the buses will not be leaving at 2:25, 2:30. They'll be leaving a little bit more closer to that 4:10 mark. But as you ladies said, I mean, it's a good opportunity. I wish I had something like this at school where you have that much time to go and work with your teacher and like get your homework done and get some tutoring. I mean, I wish I had that as a kid. I had to go home and then do it, and then maybe I got to watch some TV. Right. But I mean, here you get some, some pretty much good, one-on-one or pretty close to one-on-one time with the teacher.
And that's one of the reasons why our buses are continuing to operate at the same time, and so that students can take advantage of that opportunity. So these schedules, the time that our buses are running are the same amount, really pretty much the same time that students were in school prior to the pandemic, right? We started before, for us, we started at 7:57. I think Heritage started a little after 8 o'clock, and we were both done around 4:10 or around the same time like that. So this is pretty much the same day amount of time that we had been in school prior. But the better thing right now is that students have that opportunity to be in school while they're not necessarily face-to-face and receiving live instruction, but to still be able to get help if needed while on campus. So when they go home, they can just rest or do whatever activities they like to do.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Like, you know, is I remember going to school all the way till 4:15, 4:20, you know, whatever the case may be. I had to come home, spend another couple hours, you know, doing homework, and then I was so exhausted. It was 7 o'clock. You know, this at least the kids could, I mean, use this time productively, knock the homework out, and by the time they get home, you know, it's playtime or whatever. So. I love the idea. I think it's awesome. So let's talk about lunches. How would the lunch in the cafeteria be handled?
So I'll just start, Ms. Lewis, Dr. Lewis. So our students are going to be escorted to the cafeteria. And so we have 3 different lunches for all of the 3 different grade levels. And as Dr. Lewis stated earlier, we have 3 students assigned to each table. And so each student will be assigned their table and their seat. And this is the same one that they're going to use for all of the days that they are there, specifically just for them. And then, of course, after students aren't going to be able to get up, throw their trash away and things like that. We're going to end up, our staff and our custodial staff will be walking around, picking up trash and so forth. And so definitely, you know, the freedom to move around as they, you know, please, it's not going to be there, obviously, for obvious reasons. And so, you know, we've roped off the cafeteria lines so that when kids go through there, there's only, you know, so many kids through the lines and so forth. And so it's definitely going to be very structured.
And just to add a little bit to that, we're just going to ask for our students to just be very cooperative and patient. So that first week coming back, we know there's going to be less students there, but it still could take a little bit of time to get our students through safely because we're not going to have a long line of students anymore. So as Ms. Gomez already said, our students will be seated and we could potentially call up this table. 5 students from this table, 6 feet apart, go through the line, the next 5. It could look something like that. So it could take a little longer, but as soon as students get used to that same process every day, it'll go much faster.
All right. Let's see. Next question. Talking about devices, do I need or do I have to send my child with a personal device to school, or do I bring the borrowed device, the borrowed Chromebook to school?
Yes and yes. Absolutely. If your student is responsible enough to bring their personal device to campus, great. If they borrowed one of our Chromebooks, absolutely. Don't forget, students and parents, to make sure that, you know, Chromebooks are fully charged the night before. Bring your charger with you. But, you know, unfortunately, we don't have enough Chromebooks, right, to be able to have one for everyone at home and everyone here at school. So definitely bring your devices. Yes.
So we are Bring Your Own Technology Campus. We have been for several years. I'm not sure if we've gotten that out a lot, but that means that a lot of this work, remember we're using the Google platform. So a lot of this work can be done even on a cell phone. It can be done on an iPad, a Chromebook, or any other kind of laptop. Our teachers have a few desktops in the classroom, but as Mrs. Gomez says, it's not enough for everyone. So they do not have to bring a device. This is if they are responsible enough, and if you have an additional device for your student to bring, then we welcome that. But if you don't have one, our teachers are going to have alternate ways for students to exhibit what they've learned during that instruction.
Yeah, I think that's worth repeating, is that it's not a requirement to bring a personal device,
Right.
you know, because there are a lot of families who don't have devices or may not even feel comfortable sending their child with a device. So it is not a requirement, but you can do it. if you so choose. So,
Absolutely.
let's talk about parent pickup. How does parent pickup work?
Sure.
Very patiently. So definitely once we get into our routine, right? Definitely, I'm going to say at Heritage, we're going to ask that parents have a sign with their student's name clearly written. So then once you do show up, we can call for your student and so forth. And, we'll get faster as we, do this more often, but we're going to definitely ask for lots of patience. But as soon as 225 hits, we'll start releasing our kiddos as our parents are arriving.
And I'm laughing because I was also the principal at one of our elementary schools in this district. And so I know how that can be. I know that it can be a little frustrating at first because the line is long and you're wondering what's taking so long. But remember, I can't say this enough, is that our number one priority is to make sure that we keep your students and our staff safe. And so it's going to take a little bit longer because we can't have students congregate the way we have before. We know that in middle school, they're old enough to be able to recognize your car, to be able to know whether or not they should be getting in the car with you. However, we just can't have them congregating in large crowds because it's just not safe. So just be patient with us, and we promise we will get faster.
All right, so that's the end of the pre-formatted questions, and now it's time for the audience Q&A. I actually like the beginning of this because they talked to each other and figured out, Sarah, she had a common question that we get. Her kids were in different groups. How do I get them back into the same group? Because so she has a job to go to face as well. Then, like a few minutes later, she put, "Well, I got an email stating we are A-OK, and both kids are now in the same group. Thanks." And so the parent asked, "Hey, who did you talk to about the schedule?" And so Sarah says, "I got with Miss Kathy Cook,
Awesome.
and she was extremely helpful." Another parent had, call your kid's school, and that's really it. I know we get a lot of them at the district level asking this question, but it really, really does need to go to the campus level. The campuses know your kids the best. They are able to collaborate with each other, effectively, principal to principal. So, I mean, when you ask the district, hey, can you put my kids in the same class? I'm gonna go right to Dr. Thomas here and right to Ms. Gomez and say, here, it's gonna eliminate the middleman, so to speak, if you just go right to the campus. Again, someone asked, how do I find out what color group the child is in? Imminent, right?
So we talked about it a couple times, and some of these parents may have joined a little bit later after we answered that. But multiple ways you'll know through mail. We are going to send letters out, and then the fastest way is it could be today, it could be tomorrow, just depending on when we were able to enter that in there. But going through Texas Connect, which is the same way that you registered your students, you will see a new zero. It's going to look like a zero period at the top of your student schedule, and it's going to tell you whether they are group, it's going to say group gold, group black. And then you will look at the calendar that we are also sending you to know what days your students will be on campus.
Lisa Covey-Cook has a good question. Does anything change for the kids that are staying with remote?
That's a good question. The thing that does change is their schedule. Thank you for that question, Ms. Covey-Cook. So their schedule is going to change slightly because we needed to accommodate, again, the students that are on campus for lunch. So students have probably gotten pretty used to their schedules, but our teachers are going to be communicating those changes starting Friday. So they do currently, our teachers see every one of their students on Friday. That's going to change after the week of September 8th, but they're going to start letting them know the differences in their time. And so we're going to, again, it's like starting over again. We're going to give students grace, and we're going to ask for that same grace back with us as we navigate through the few minor changes in our schedules.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that, again, the face-to-face schedule is the same for the synchronous schedule, which is the same for the asynchronous schedule. And so all of our families are receiving all of that information, but that new schedule is effective Tuesday, September 8th.
Christine has a good question about occupancy within the classroom. How many students will be able to be in each classroom?
Yeah, that's definitely a great question. What we have determined for the most part, and again, typical classroom here at Heritage, and I think at Legacy as well, and we're talking literally, wall to wall, right? And so putting up a desk from one side of the wall to the other side, at least 6 feet apart, we're looking at about 15 kids. And so, which is pretty much half, right, of our normal class sizes. So it's definitely going to be a change, but about 15 kids.
Here's one in regards to the emergency schedule and athletes and parents working. I was wondering how the hybrid, it's emergency schedule, not hybrid, works for athletes with working parents. My concern is getting athletes to school for games at times when parents may be at work. Thank you for all that you all are doing.
Yeah. So again, we're still in talks with our athletic director about this, but the information that we have right now is some of that time before. So, we have the tutoring time built in that starts at 8:30. Practice might start at 7:30, let's say, or 7 o'clock, or practice might be after hours like it normally has been in prior years. And so it's kind of going to be the same schedule. Now, if students are going to be face-to-face, then they are still going to be able to go to the athletic period, which is different than the practices before or after. And then if they are remote, then they're still going to be asked to log on to do those same workouts live. That's going to be important that they stay in shape. But other than that, you'll receive a little bit more specific information once we know exactly what our schedules are going to look like. I don't know if you want to add anything, Ms. Gomez, to that.
Just contact your coaches, right? If you're struggling with anything, contact the coaches. We can definitely always make some different arrangements, but let us know what you need.
Absolutely.
So before I bring up this next question, I just want to preface it by saying that there have been some very limited, very small populations that have been brought back to school. And generally those are very, very profoundly in need students, special education and life skills and no connectivity. I mean, just profoundly in need. I just want to say that before I bring it up, because Vanessa asks for the students that have already been, that have been coming for face-to-face 5 days a week, will they continue on that schedule or go to the hybrid one?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And so again, more than likely, I can't say 100%, but more than likely the answer is yes. And so again, Mrs. Liebem, go on to Texas Connect and look at your son's schedule tomorrow morning and let us know if you have any questions or concerns. But yeah, there were lots of different situations. Some just struggle, some struggle with, family members being able to help, or there's nobody at home and, to help, and they're truly struggling, or no technology, or, there's a lot of different situations. And so we were definitely trying to be as accommodating as possible. But more than likely, the answer is yes, Mrs. Liebem.
Yeah, and again, we just wanted to point that out that we have had those small populations, but again, they had to meet some criteria and some priorities in order to get that. Maria asked if a child has a cough or a stomach ache in the morning before school, are they able to complete remotely so it won't hinder their grade?
Yes, and we hope that they will. So as Ms. Gomez said earlier, we want students to, whether they're face-to-face or not, 5 days a week to be completing their activities and their instruction, right? But we say absolutely, we hope that they will still be able to do that. Now, if a student is just totally out of it, they're in the worst pain, we are not here to inflict more pain on them, right? But if they're able to do that, absolutely, if they stay home, that's going to help make sure that they stay safe and that the other people here stay safe, but they can still complete that work.
Right. And I mean, it won't count as an absence or anything like that. Like, again, something I wish I had as a kid, because, there was times I didn't feel well and I'm like, well, I didn't want to miss days and then go back and make up that work. if I could just jump on the computer and, but again, this is before technology was even there. It was like on those Commodore 64 type of things. So,
can we just say that one more time, because I think that is an important point that maybe we didn't say a lot of tonight. So when students are remote, whether or not, let's say it's a gold day and the student is in the other group, which is the Black. If the students do not come to school that day, they're not counted absent just as long as they meet one of those requirements. One of those requirements is that they can just turn in their work asynchronously. Even if they don't log on at the same time and they turn in work, they're counted present. Or if the student logs on live, they can be counted present that way. So that is a big benefit of this schedule right now, is that a student doesn't necessarily have to be on campus to be counted present. So I want to make sure that all of our parents and our students understand that.
Yeah, it's definitely worth saying, because I think they think, okay, I'm stuck in this. Even sometimes it's synchronous and asynchronous. There's actually a lot of flexibility. Like I said, if I was a kid and I had, sneezing and stuffy nose, but I didn't feel like doing all that makeup work, I would just jump on the computer and do synchronous learning and get it knocked out. So that's a really, really cool thing, in my opinion. Nicole Garza has a interesting question. I think we've answered some of this, though. Will there be different stages of the kids, getting the kids back face to face, like a certain amount starting after Labor Day, and then more added after another 2 weeks? And yes, we did address it at the beginning, but we might want to just say it again.
Garza, you will be receiving a calendar with Black and gold dates. You're going to be receiving a emergency schedule, and then your students' schedule as well. But you can log into Texas Connect tomorrow and see that schedule. But yes, right now we have our group set, and then give us a few weeks, and then we'll start filling in as we can. But we want to definitely start our school year off safe and make sure that we have all of those routines in place before we start adding more students.
And just remember, we are at the mercy of a pandemic. So God forbid, should this get out of hand again, we could possibly go in the reverse direction. But if it continues to get better, as we are all hoping that it will, then what Ms. Gomez said will definitely apply.
I know that Mr. Toscano always brings up the dashboard. And if you go to covid19.sanantonio.gov, it's basically what the city, they are doing a dashboard, and it basically tells you like how they got to this number. But we're also mimicking that same dashboard with our own protocols. And right now it is going back down. Right now we're at the phase 2, level 2. It is going back down. So it's looking good. All right. But, the thing is, we can't lower our guard too much and then, blow it back up again.
Right.
So Bradley asked, it appears that there are more Group B Black days in the year than gold. Can it be made more equal?
You must have read our minds. There actually are. I want to say, Ms. Lewis, I think it was 76 to 80.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So we just wanted to mimic the high school's calendar, so then that way everyone's on the same page. And so possibly, Mr. Chandler, but I think we're probably going to end up sticking with that one unless something changes.
But the thing to remember too is that the days that they're not on campus, or they're still going to be receiving instruction from all of their teachers. So it kind of all evens out, but we understand what you're saying. We thought about it too.
Yeah, I just want to bring the calendar up again. I mean, yeah, I think you said there was a 4-day difference.
76 to 80 days, and that's just because of wherever the different holidays and such that we have in our calendar. And then again, trying to be as streamlined as possible for all secondary schools. It ended up being a little different.
Right. And I mean, hey, Gold gets a good one because they get Monday off. It's Monday, so way to go, Gold. Let me see where are some other questions real quick. A lot of people, what's great is I love seeing this, is that they're talking to each other and then figuring it out, amongst themselves, or maybe, there's some other East Central staff in there.
Thank you all.
Yes. again, just want to touch on that, so we can send our child to do in person, and for whatever reason, change their preference back to virtual. Yeah, that's preferred, actually. Don't send your kids sick is basically what we're trying to say. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Well, and if you do change your mind, you want to go from face-to-face back to synchronous to remote, all you have to do is just let us know, but that would not be a problem. We can definitely work through that. Just the reverse of that, though, is just what we were just talking about here a couple of questions ago. Give us a little bit of time to figure out our routines, keeping everyone safe, and then how much room do we still have, to start adding more students.
Yes.
The earliest someone could drop off their kids, I guess, for parents that work early in the morning.
So our common practice, and I'm not sure if it's the same for both schools, but 7 o'clock is the earliest that we ask students to not be dropped off before 7 o'clock, just for safety. At certain points in the year, it's still dark out, and we just want to make sure that our students are safe. But we have our staff here waiting for our students there, ready to go at 7 o'clock. I don't know, is that the same for Heritage?
Yes, absolutely. It's the same for Heritage. And again, the parent pickup and drop off at Heritage is by the tennis courts. And not in front of the school, it's by the tennis courts. Again, remember, we are changing up procedures. And so there's only one way in if you're a parent, pick up and drop off. And then there's only one way in if you're a bus turnaround kiddo.
Same for Legacy. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Next question is PE uniforms. Tried ordering a PE uniform for the daughter, but the website says the store is only open the first day of the month. Will my daughter be penalized for not having a uniform? What can she wear in the meantime? She'll be attending Legacy.
All right, we can go future night. I'm excited about that. So I apologize for that, and we'll make sure that that's a little bit more clear. So we close it usually the first of the month, and that's so that we can gather all the orders that have been placed thus far, and then we open it back up the next day. But that's solely for the purpose of us being able to close out those orders for the month, get them, get the funds to the warehouse, and then they can start sending our order back, and then we'll open it back up. But we'll make sure that that is a little bit more clear on that. I apologize for that. Just try again tomorrow. If you have any difficult, you can contact me or you can contact our athletic coordinator. Her name is Lisa Ortega, and she will be happy to help you. In the meantime, anything that your student has, if they're on campus, dress code appropriate. And so I'm always about school colors. As you can see, I'm very proud of our school here with our night purple, black. But if it's whatever a student really has, is going to be acceptable.
So same at Heritage, absolutely.
Serena has a good question, talking about that length of time between the last period of the day and then, when bus pickup would be. Where will the kids be when school is done if the buses are not bringing them home right after school?
That's a great question, Ms. Almanza. And for now, they're going to be in their classroom, right, during the last period of the day, fourth period, if it's an A day, eighth period, if it's a B day. But then after we're done with parent pickup kiddos, with the majority of the parent pickup kiddos, then we'll probably end up moving our kiddos into the cafeteria, which that's been kind of our standard process. It's just going to depend on the numbers, right? We can only have so many students in our cafeteria. But that's our best plan for right now until we know, how many kiddos we have.
Okay. Amber Torres asked, is it too late to change from PE to pre-athletics? Her son's in the 6th grade.
Absolutely not. Just call the school, ask for your students, your son's counselor, and we can definitely make that change. We'll be happy to.
Are y'all having teachers use Rewind, I believe?
Right.
How can we get access to teachers' Rewind code to communicate with them with that app instead of emailing them?
So I think Ms. Brock is referring to Remind. We use Remind here at Legacy for our messages, and you can get that. You can email the teacher and get that information. You can send them a message through Google Classroom. A lot of our teachers have that information posted in their Google Classroom as well. But just a simple call or email, and the teacher will make sure to get that. We can also, if we have your cell phone number, we can automatically add you. But the best thing to do is just reach out to your child's teacher.
This is a I don't know if you can address this. It might be a technology question. What are we able to do about students being required to access websites and programs that are not accessible due to the restrictions on Chromebooks?
So I don't mind starting with that one. I'm not sure if it's really the restriction that's on the Chromebook or if it's through our filter. So the filter that we have through our district. And so if a student has been loaned one of our Chromebooks, it is still governed by our district filters. And so some of those websites are being blocked. What we have realized, though, is that unfortunately some of those are websites that are legitimate or that are really good for research, or even ones that we've asked students to log on to. So when a student sees that happen, the best thing to do is for them just to communicate that to the teacher. There's a process that our teachers will undergo to let our campus technology coordinator know, and then the campus technology coordinator can move through the correct steps to see if it's something that should be blocked or if it's something that's going to need to be unblocked.
Lisa asked about, obviously, it looks like she has a nervous sixth grader. Will there be staff available in the hallways to help sixth graders navigate their way through the campus?
I love little sixth graders. The first day of school, it is so much fun to help them. And you know what? My number one response to all the sixth graders is, you are going to get lost, right? It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But absolutely, we're actually planning a little tours in the morning, the first day on Tuesday morning, to kind of show our sixth graders around. And so after they've eaten their breakfast and so forth, we're going to take students around. But bottom line is they're going to get lost, and just accept it, right? But yes, there will be lots of people to help them.
And we know that's a little different because normally our students would have had meet the teacher. And if they came from another district school, elementary school, they would have even had a tour back in the fall. None of those things happened. And so I know there's a lot of worry about what is this going to look like. So we're planning very similar to Heritage, and in smaller groups, we'll be taking students through to be able to see the school.
Right. I'm in my 40s and I still get lost. So all's good. Selena says this question is for Dr. Lewis. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
As of 9A in reference to sixth graders, what percentage of students will actually be coming face-to-face and leaving remote?
So I'll speak to the number that we've invited, because really the number that show up is going to be up to the parents and students' comfortability level or comfort level. So right now, out of those that responded, so we did send out, this is another plug, it might be closed by now, but we did send out that the commitment choice form to ask you to let us know if you wanted to have instruction face-to-face or if you were going to continue remote. And we had a little over 800 responses, so we still fell short by a couple hundred, but we had close to 40% of our families that wanted to be back on campus, which makes me so excited because I miss our students so much. So we had about 40% that said they wanted to come. And so right now we're right at that between 40 and 50% that are going to be on campus starting September 8th. And so it'll look the same. Our groups are a little bit in different sizes, but pretty much the same. So anywhere between that 40 and 50, but never more than 50% for right now.
And Ms. Gomez, anything to?
No, just right around there as well.
Yeah.
And we actually had about 46% of our students said that they wanted to come back. And like Dr. Lewis was saying, yeah, we're excited. And I think that once our students are on campus and then, you know, they start talking to each other and all, I think more kids are going to want to come back. And that makes me happy as well.
And that matches the district-wide trend. District-wide was just under 50%, you know, of wanting to go back. And that's why, you know, we're in the emergency schedule is so we can have that phased-in approach instead of just everybody coming back, you know, because we didn't know, you know, what the survey was looking like. And once it's, you know, half of our district enrollment, which is, you know, I mean, their enrollment's close to 10,000. You're talking almost 5,000 students district-wide, trying to find them spacing, trying to find them appropriate spacing, you know, and things of that nature. It's just, you know, you have to have a phased-in approach, as rough as it is. Jessica has a good question, and I know, we've answered this on the other ones too, but, being able to park and the students walk to the cars.
Yeah, you're talking about for parent pickup? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. We'll just need to know who the student is. And like I said, have a little sign, something that we can read, and we'll call for that student. And yes, and the student can walk to the cars. Absolutely.
So I want to just clarify, and I don't know if Ms. R can clarify this, are you meaning can the parent walk to, I know sometimes at Legacy our parents before will park and then come pick up their student. So if that is the question for us, we're just going to ask that the parent remain in the vehicle, just so that we can be safe and not have too many people out. If you just flash that sign, we promise we'll get to you, but we're just going to ask them to stay in the vehicle, just so they don't come in close contact with any of our students.
Right. There was that follow-up question right there that asks, are they going to be allowed to take the nervous sixth graders up to their class? We're sorry, no. But like we were saying, there's plenty of staff that are going to be out there. So they'll be able to. So Jessica she followed up. She said, if I'm parked by a technology building, can my son walk across at pickup?
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. Crosswalks, absolutely no problem.
Yes.
Just again, your sign. Yes.
Someone asked about football. Is there going to be a football season? Go Knights.
Go Knights! I love our ride today. Yes, I'm here for this. Right now, that is still in the works. Our hope is yes. We know that our students' world has been flipped upside down since March. And so we want them to be able to get back to some normalcy. And of course, we're going to put some protocols and things in place. I know the high school has already started with their strength and conditioning. And so we're going to be following those protocols that are working very well at the high school and move that down to the middle school level. So in short, our hope is yes, but some of that is still being worked on right now.
A couple questions again about transportation. Were buses addressed? How will social distancing be maintained on each school bus? I want to add that tonight in an hour and 7 o'clock, marketing did a nice little video along with transportation going all over the new procedures and things of that for the buses. So literally an hour from now, it's going to be blasted out. But ladies, anything that y'all can share with us.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to add was definitely, there was some question about the starting times or when buses are going to be picking up students and so much earlier than the start time. Again, our buses may need to make several different routes, right? Or the same route, but several different times. And so definitely be patient. If a bus is full, right, then they're going to have to come to the schools, drop off the students, and then go back and pick up the rest of the kiddos. So they're definitely very well aware of maintaining social distance, especially on the school buses.
Right. And like I said, check out that video in about an hour. Hey, when can we pick up the football equipment tomorrow?
And I'm not sure about Legacy, but I know we had it originally scheduled for today and tomorrow. But as of now, it has been postponed. And so we hope to have more information by next week. We will have, and I'm being very optimistic, we will have a football season, right? But our schedule, they're still working on our schedule.
And we have a volleyball and cross country parent meeting tomorrow for Legacy at tomorrow Thursday at, let me check that calendar, at 4:30 through Google Meets. And you can just contact any one of the coaches for that information.
Another question about sports. And by the way, ladies, I've kept you for an hour. I'm only going to take a couple more questions. If students are in sports, can they stay on campus after school?
Yes. The answer is yes, they can. And then they can just be picked up at the conclusion of the sporting event or whenever the practice is going to be.
Talking again about, parking and dropping off students. Can they cross to Salado at the beginning and send to class?
Okay, so at Legacy, we do have, of course, we have siblings that are right across at Salado. And so before we have allowed our students to walk across, To my knowledge, we haven't changed that, but I will make sure that I get with the principal, Miss Triana, to make sure that's still going to be okay. We realize that if that doesn't happen, it does cause parents to have to come in and then go all the way around the highway to come back. And so let me just double check on that. I don't want to give you a false answer, but Miss Vega, if you will send me an email, I promise I will make sure to give you that answer.
I know we talked about technology earlier, and I want to just bring it up one more time. Maybe she missed at the beginning. When our schools given laptops or iPads, and I think it goes back to also students bringing technology to schools, you know, whether it was borrowed or maybe even a personal device. If you just want to talk about that one more time.
Absolutely. Well, at Heritage, we still have a good number of Chromebooks available to loan out. And again, all you have to do is just call us and schedule time to come by and pick one up. And so definitely we still have some. And of course, we encourage all of our students to bring their devices with them when they are here at school face to face.
And for Legacy, I think we're pretty much out of Chromebooks, but we have iPads available. And it's the same thing. You just call the school. And what we're doing is when parents come, they'll call us and we'll meet them out in the foyer area to check those out for them.
Tiffany, she asked, how can I check my child is black or gold? We've addressed that a couple of times already in the broadcast. Just go back earlier to it. Someone asked, same question for Oakcrest and Heritage. Can we drop off all students at Oakcrest and then the Heritage students walk over?
Yeah, that is not a problem. Again, please just, if you could, well, there's a drive between Oakcrest and Heritage, and you know, there's deliveries being made, there's employees that park in the back. I am always so very leery of something happening. So if you could please encourage your student to please stop, look both ways, take off the AirPods or the earbuds and pay attention and so forth. Please be careful. I know. I hate to say no, right? And I don't want to say no, but definitely encourage them to please be careful. Please be safe at all times.
And if we, you know, and at the end of the day, we do encourage for the older ones to be the ones to walk over, for sure.
All right, so we'll do one last question because they're on the football. Is there a replay for the football meeting they missed on Monday?
You didn't miss it. So, well, at Heritage, we postponed ours. And so we will definitely let everyone know when we're going to reschedule that parent meeting.
But for any questions in the interim, just contact our athletic coordinators will be happy to help.
Absolutely.
Right. And again, you know, as we're bringing this to a close, like I mentioned before, the best bet to eliminate the middleman, the district, is to go right to the campus. So if you have questions about, you know, getting siblings on the same schedule, you know, things of that, you know, nature in regards to the emergency schedule, any questions about, you know, face-to-face or remote learning, you know, go to your campus first. You know, these ladies are right here. They got some awesome people around them too, and you know they know their families better. So it would be better to just go right to Dr. Lewis or to Mrs. Gomez. And if you do ask me, I'm just going to say Dr. Lewis and Mrs. Gomez. That's the answer. So ladies, we're going to bring this to a close. Any final closing statements?
Gosh, you know, I just want to say I am so looking forward to Tuesday and those new faces and all of our returning faces. And you know, it's been great these last couple of weeks having you know, several students here on our campus, but it's definitely going to be a lot different and different feel. It's going to feel like a real first day of school with not so many kids on campus, and we're all so excited. My staff is excited, of my assistant principals. We are also looking forward to seeing all of our students. And like Mr. Oliver said, parents, if you have any questions, I don't know how many emails I sent out this summer, the last couple of weeks, just respond to those. Find my email on the website. Just or call us, and we would be more than happy to answer any of your questions and help you in any which way that we can.
And I just want to say as well, thank you parents for your questions, but thank you even more for your trust in us. For those of you that, and there is no judgment. We understand we have children as well. And so we understand if you're not at the point where you feel comfortable with sending your students, but please know that we are keeping their safety and all of our staff safety at the top of our mind. It's our top priority. But thank you for trusting us with your kiddos, either remotely or face-to-face. And I just want to make a quick plug for the staff at Heritage and the staff at Legacy. They have been working tirelessly. Well, they probably won't say, Ms. Lewis, it's not tirelessly, I'm tired. But they've been working very, very hard for your students, getting their classrooms prepared. They're working on the lessons or getting videos done. I mean, they are really working day and night to make sure that students have a really high quality experience, whether they're at home or remote. So I just want to give kudos to the teachers, to the staff, our administrators for working very, very hard because they're excited about seeing the students back. And so they've been doing everything they can to make sure that we're going to be safe and have a great experience. And we're looking forward to a great year, and go Knights.
All right. Just want to throw out a plug that tomorrow at 6 p.m. we will have Principal Shane McKay from East Central High School. He'll be answering questions and talking about high school specifically. So I just want to again thank you ladies for coming on to talk to us, and then for everybody that watched, thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow with Principal McKay. Good night.
Bye.